And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this Wednesday, April 29th. And we're looking at temperatures out there. A little chilly for this time of the year. We're in the upper 40s right now across much of the area. A little cooler in the far northern valley in northwest Minnesota. And we're going to continue with these below normal temperatures for the next few days. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel. Good afternoon, Bridgette.
Dandy fine day.
Hey, we're breathing, right? So it's a good day.
No, it's more than that. I think it's things are going to turn out fine outside today. Hopefully we are down a little bit in the wind that we've had the last few days, so that's rather nice.
Yeah, and we do have improving weather that is heading our way as we head towards the end of the weekend, especially into the upcoming weekend. We've got partly cloudy skies for the rest of the afternoon. We should reach around 50 or so today. So if up a few more degrees from where we're at right now with those northwest winds, about 10 to 20. Then tomorrow, or tonight, I should say, we'll dip back down below the freezing mark into the upper 20s. And tomorrow, more of the same, partly cloudy skies with temperatures right around the 50-degree mark. Northwest winds tomorrow about 10 to 15. And then Friday looks to be an ideal day. A lot of sunshine, light winds, temperatures in the mid to upper 50s, so a little closer to normal. We should be right around 60. And then we do poke into the low to mid 60s over the weekend. We'll see a few clouds mixed in with the sun and maybe a sprinkle or two, but I'm keeping it dry for now over the weekend. And then a cold front hits on Monday, and that will trigger off a few showers, followed by much cooler weather back into the 50s as we head into next week. So we just can't string together more than a day or so of nice, mild spring weather. We're back into that northwest flow. And it looks like this is going to be with us through about the 13th, 14th of May before things should start to break in regards to warmer temperatures moving over the area. So, hold off on the garden just yet. We're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. We're going to slow crawl into spring this year.
Well, I don't know that it's just this year. That's just the situation we have, right? So glad to see that some things are done. I've heard more and more sugar beets being planted. In fact, I got a message last night from a friend who says, hey, don't worry, I will have extra sugar beet pails ready for you by the weekend. There's some corn in the ground. I think that in some cases, I've got folks mentioning they'd rather put their soybeans in first rather than their corn right now, only because if something bad happens and you've got to replant, you've just easier to replant soybeans versus corn. It's pretty sporadic what's going on for folks as far as where their planting is at. And certainly the further north we go, the less activity we've been seeing. There's some cereals that have been planted, wheat, barley, certainly some oats, a little bit of canola. I feel like it might be a smidge early for canola, but I could be wrong on that. And then we're just waiting to see what everybody else can get done in a timely fashion. We'll watch the weather systems, hope for some warm-ups, and continue to see the land dry off so we can get back in the field and take it as we get it.
Now, Bridgette, you mentioned cereals, and Addison had a question. Addison?
You are always throwing me right under the bus. Dean, this was a confidential question.
He just wanted to know if it included Captain Crunch. That's all.
No, it's Lucky Charms.
Oh, see, you were off by one there, Addison.
I
You
was
were
close.
Off by one. You had the right idea.
Nice try, guys. Way to go.
Also, would like to remind people, starting tomorrow, it's your chance to bid on the North Dakota Country Fest VIP package with the Big Deals auction. Again, the bidding opens tomorrow at 7 a.m. and closes at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Now, what is included in this VIP package? It includes 2 4-day VIP music passes and 1 4-day VIP parking pass. It's over a $1,500 value. Now, the bidding is going to start at $300. The North Dakota Country Fest is out in New Salem, and it is including Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish, Nate Smith, Billy Currington, Terry Clark, Blackhawk, Parmalee, Susie Bogus, Low Cash, and the Bellamy Brothers, and even more. So again, if you want more on that, log on to our website, WDAYradionow.com, click on Big Deals, and again, the bidding starts tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. That's a nice little package, and some good music out there as well.
For some of you who have heard, we'll be going out with Landmark companies. Myself and the folks from Landmark are going to be delivering U.S. flags to farmers in the field or in the yard or at the farm shop so that they can fly them in the yards, the shops, and right off their equipment. We're going out to flag a farmer. And I don't mind recommendations. If you have someone that you know normally is flying a flag, but maybe they need a replacement, well, just send me an email, ag@flagfamily.com, and we'll be happy to surprise them with new flags, again, for the equipment or the farmyard. And those emails, ag@flagfamily.com is mine. Dean is weather@flagfamily.com. That's sponsored by Superior Grain Equipment. You can indeed protect your farm's future with Superior Grain Storage, Drying, and Handling Solutions. Go to superiorbins.com to check them out. We appreciate all the phone calls that we get. They've been a lot of fun to listen to whenever they happen. And you can reach us on the JLA Insurance phone line of 701-293-9000. And then there's also a way to watch. It's just like TV, but better. And that's the Lighthouse Commodities live stream. Acres TV, Facebook, and YouTube. And Lighthouse Commodities makes sure that that is ready to roll every day. Well, Addison makes sure it's ready to roll. And some days it rolls smoother than others. But it happens. I know Addison usually has to grit his teeth.
we've got our days where some things may not run as smoothly as preferred, but we're normally rolling. Sometimes
We are. And one of those things that's going to roll even more smoothly is our very own Bonnie Amistadi is going to be on location for the Parade of Homes at the ranch at Sunset Valley next Monday, May 4th. What a great way to kick off May. You can stop in between 4 and 7 p.m. to see the new clubhouse and model home. There's a variety of main level living floor plans. Again, that's the ranch at Sunset Valley in Horace, Monday beginning at 4 o'clock. And there's details online at heritagefargo.com. If you're looking for a house, looking to move into a new place, that sounds like an excellent opportunity.
All right. And we've got Todd on line one. Todd's got a question for you, Bridgette. Todd, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, Bridgette, I'm just thinking about what's gone on in the past, in the first term and in the second term for Donald Trump bailing out the farmers because he put the tariffs on and that dropped the amount of exports way, way down. So last year, I think he said he'd pumped $25 billion in. Now this Iran war has caused the price of fertilizer to skyrocket, and diesel fuel is at highs, almost all-time highs. Is there talk yet of Trump bailing out the farmers for these high input costs where the markets are so depressed already anyway?
Well, remember, there's always talk, right? That happens every single time we see a move in the market. Should there be a bailout of some sort? Should there be extra dollars that are spent? But what happens when that is the case is when extra dollars are sent out at the farm level is often those inputs follow it right on up. So if there's more money sent to the farm level, there's a continuing increase in those input costs, whether it would be diesel fuel, fertilizer, etc. But also watch the markets. There have been incremental increases in corn, especially as of late. When Greg Hansen from Market Uncovers joins us on Friday and we talk about the commodity markets at 1:20 p.m., he's going to do a great job of explaining and talking about how we've seen those markets slowly increase. And everyone's got their fingers crossed that it continues to go up. It's looking like a more positive on the commodity side. Are we seeing more increases, though, in fertilizer, diesel fuel? It's going to fluctuate. It's going to fluctuate tremendously. Currently, if you read the headlines, Iran is running out of places to store their crude. So they're going to get some pressure from OPEC. Could that change what we're doing over here? Yes. Will that also impact how much more ethanol we're able to produce? And can we see year-round E8, E15 versus what we see in some states for just certain months of the year? All of that could change, and it happens on pretty much a daily basis. So Todd has great questions, but the answer is it depends, and it's probably going to change every single day, depending on what we read.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, we've got who's our guest today, Bridgette?
We will be joined today by Matt Pierson. He's with HIghland LIvestock, but we're going to talk about the producer partnership with Matt because during COVID, he saw a need to make sure that fresh beef was supplied to the food pantries in Montana. So he found himself being a rancher and the director of a charity. How do you do it? And how does that continue to happen in the state of Montana? We're going to visit with Matt about that and so much more. We will do that after the livestock report from the American Ag Network, which is up next. And when we return, we'll make sure to not only talk to our guests, but more details on Flag a Farmer It's Wednesday weather trivia and more. Don't forget, if you're thinking about that flag of farmer and you want to make sure that farmers you know get U.S. flags to fly off their equipment in their farmyards or right there in the shop, you can drop me that email again, ag@flagfamily.com. I'd be happy to take your suggestions and ideas and incorporate that into my day on the road with Landmark Companies and another day with Geronimo Power. Speaking of on the road, it sounds like our guest today, who is Matt Pierson, he is joining us from Montana. And well, Addison said in preview, you're on the road and you've probably got the best view of anybody. I'm actually not in my pickup for a change, Matt. So tell us where you're at and what you do.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in Bozeman, Montana, right at the moment, helping out our rodeo team today. And so realized that apparently I had it written down as 1:10 our time, but it is an hour earlier. So I'm doing this from my truck. I apologize.
Don't apologize. I would tell you fully 50% of the time I'm in my pickup somewhere. So this seems really natural to me. It's just fine.
Oh, good.
So, Matt, give us the background. Well, you're helping out the rodeo team today. You're a rancher as well. Just
Oh,
fill us in
yeah.
on you.
Yeah, we always have something fun going on around here. No, I grew up in Livingston, Montana. Actually, as a kid, I was kind of small, so I played a lot of soccer growing up. Oh, back when there wasn't much of that going on in Montana as there was. But yeah, one of those rare people that gets to live where I was born, which is always fun.
And you've been ranching ever since?
Yes. Yeah, I actually graduated from Montana State University, animal science major, and decided to go home, and I've been there since. And just we raise, cows and do all that kind of stuff. Do a lot of hay sales, things like that.
Side note, how do things look right now for you guys out west? Usually when I think of Montana, I think about an area that's much more arid than we are, and you never mind a rain.
So we had arguably one of the driest winters we've had on record. I talked to a couple of guys from Yellowstone National Park yesterday, and they said it is the earliest that they have that the lake at Yellowstone thawed out on record, which is kind of scary. I can tell you from my standpoint, we never did plow any of our driveways. I shoveled our sidewalk once because I felt like I needed to do something, and it's very dry here. We've had a few little
Okay.
snow showers here just recently, but not a lot. So hoping for more.
As a rancher, have you always looked to send your cattle to market? Have you done work with processors, or have you had a farm to market operation where you've been able to supply direct to consumers? Because I want to build some background before we get into your charity work.
Yeah. So we've always, in years past, we used to breed to Charolais bulls, and so we sold everything direct to feedlots. In the last about 5 years, we've kind of switched over to where our steers will go to feedlots, but we have an Angus herd that we breed to Hereford bulls, and we sell these F1 cross heifers for replacement heifers, and that's turned into a pretty darn good program for us to help market those heifers a little bit more than what we used to traditionally see.
In doing so, you've been ranching for a number of years, and as we got closer to the pandemic, you started to see some needs and wanted to make a difference. And that led to the producer partnership. And what I read was you were just to the point of, okay, look, I've got cattle and I need to do something with this. Can you walk us through the story of how the producer partnership came to be?
Yeah, so as I said, actually coach soccer in our area for 25 years. And so obviously know all the families, kind of really got to see what happened during COVID and could really see the effect on the families in our area. And so the sports reporter in Livingston wanted to come out and do a story on us during calving season of how our life had changed due to COVID. And I giggled because I'm like, I don't leave for about 45 days anyway. So COVID could have hit and I would never know the difference. And, by the end of the day, we had really started to kind of think about this, about the effect it had on people and what we wish that we could do to help people, and realize that we did have a few cull animals because, we don't feed anything out in our area. Usually any rumors you've ever heard about the wind in Livingston area, they're all true. So us feeding
Uh-huh.
out animals, especially calves, does not work well. And so, but realized that we had a couple cull cows, so I called a few neighbors. Um, it By the next morning, I think I had 6 cows in the corral ready to go, and the Park County Community Foundation, where we live, heard what we were doing, and so they offered to help pay for the processing, and that's really kind of how it started. And by the end of the first week, I think we had about $13,000 that people had donated to help us. And people were just literally dropping cows off in the corral. We didn't have a name for it. We didn't know what we were doing or where we were headed. But it absolutely took off from there. And it kind of built its own momentum to the point that we're like, oh man, we're going to have to call it something. Um, and then shortly after that, we're like, well, geez, now we're going to have to do a board. And then we went and got our 501c3 status pretty fast too.
And through all of this, COVID was a time frame where the slots to take animals into process filled fast. All of a sudden we went from you can bring an animal in a month to I'm sorry, you have a 2-year wait time because we have so many slotted. How did that impact what you were trying to do in order to get this beef processed for those who are in need?
So really interesting, COVID was slow to hit to Montana, as I'm sure it was in your guys' area as well.
Yes,
But what
yes, it
ended up
was.
happening is we had we had about we had about a week of free reign, and I don't even know if it was a full week. And the odd portion about us here anyway is by the time COVID hit, at the same time that food supply chain issues hit all at once. And so we went from having the run of everything for about a week to not being able to get in anywhere. Even though we were paying, the same as everybody else, it was suddenly really hard to get in because everybody was racing around trying to create a direct to consumer product, trying to help fill in the gaps. And we went from really good success to all of a sudden we were taking semi loads all the way to Williston, North Dakota, to get them done there because nobody had the capacity to keep up here. And that was literally the only person I could find in about a 4-state region that would help us out. And so we realized really early on that it was going to be a tough challenge to always be able to going in somewhere else, that having other people sort of be in charge of our destiny was really tough. And so, if you look at it, it was in April 2020 that this idea got started. We had our own board and 501, our own board kind of got going everything there by August. By October, we had 501c3 status. In January of 2021, we voted to table the idea of opening our own facility. That lasted a week. And then we called another meeting and we voted to open our own facility.
I like the way you
If you
just
look
take
at
things and move forward that fast. We need a facility. Let's do this.
Yeah. Well, what happened was I had a couple cows in our corral that I had to put down because their health had dropped so much because we just couldn't get them in anywhere. And so it was really frustrating to watch. And if you look at the first really 2 years of our program, we did 12 pigs total. Um, and we really struggled getting them in anywhere because everybody's just like, no, we can't, we don't have time. We didn't do any sheep, any goats, anything else. And so we realized that if we were going to take this whole project to the next level, that we were going to have to be able to be in control of our own destiny. And so we voted in February, sorry, the first week of February of 2021 to open our own facility. Um, Really went after it, raised a lot of money in that first week. And by March of 2021, we put a down payment on the facility that we currently have. We looked at a lot of options, buying a facility, building a brick and mortar. We ended up going with a modular system, and because it fit what we wanted, how we felt we could grow, the time frame, and all of that, and really went to work hard. And by December of 2021, we actually had the first parts of the buildings set, and started down the road of getting passing federal inspection. They were really good to help us make sure that we did all of that. There were a lot of trials and interesting ups and downs in the meantime. But by July of 2022, we passed federal inspection and opened our doors.
This has been a fantastic project that's moved very, very quickly and really evolved into a showpiece as far as a charity and being able to move forward and get this project done so it's impacting lives in Montana every day. We have a pile more questions for you when we return, Matt, so please hold tight. We're going to go through the news, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation. That is
Perfect.
happening with Matt Pierson, HIghland Livestock, and the Producer Partnership out in Montana. TechSupport.farm isn't just for your farm, but it's for your ranch too. If you want to make sure that things are running smoothly through your routers, making sure your email is secure so that you don't have to worry about getting hacked, make that phone call to Chris Sherman at TechSupport.farm. You can reach him at 701-446-8518. He'd be happy to visit with you to make sure things are as best possible taken care of, because nobody wants to lose money through a cyber attack. Our guest today is Matt Pierson. He's with HIghland Livestock and the charity Producer Partnership out in Montana. Okay, so Matt, you've been filling us in with all the things that happened when COVID was going on. You saw the need to get beef to folks through food pantries, etc. How do you distribute? You've built your own processing facility or have a facility, and now you have accessible beef as well as donations. Then what's the next step after it's all ground up? How does it get where it needs to go?
So when we originally started the producer partnership, we ran everything through the Montana Food Bank Network. They would help pick up, kind of coordinate, get it distributed out, because we didn't really have that ability to be able to track an individual animal if somebody wanted it to go to a school or, another food bank. And, it wasn't until we opened our own facility, and really it wasn't until after about a year of operating our facility, that we were able to really dial in the tracking of the animals. And so now the way that it works is when somebody calls and wants to donate an animal, we are able to help coordinate the pickup. We were able to get it there, get it processed. The producer gets a tax letter back based on the pounds of meat donated. And then we're actually able to connect all of those dots if they wanted to go to their kid's school, or if they wanted to their area. Most of the time when schools get free product, they will come and pick it up from us because they're
Mm.
pretty excited and they're eager to go. If it's some of the farther reaches of the state, we can put it on a food bank truck and they will drop it off at their nearest associate member to that school, and the school can get it there. So we've done that a few times. If it's a big enough order and it will make a good newsworthy story, we'll load it up and take it too. um, so it really just kind of depends on the situation, whatever it takes to make and connect all of those dots.
When you speak about connecting the dots, how many producers have donated animals at this point? Do you have a number, as well as a number of how many Montanans have been impacted by these donations through the food pantries and schools?
I would say we're probably around 175 to 200 different producers that have donated over the last 5 years. And to date, we're quickly approaching that 350,000 pounds donated through our program. So if you figure, even a quarter of a pound per or for per meal, you know,
Hmm.
that's a lot of meals. That's a lot of people.
It's huge. Your numbers have been fantastic, and as you said, a school can be so excited they're just going to drive right there and get the beef. I would take that as well. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I also Go ahead.
no, that's good.
I also heard you say beef, but then you mentioned hogs and perhaps other species as well. So have you expanded your reach from besides just beef?
Yes. So we can actually do everything from a goat to a bison. Um, it Having our own facility has really opened up a lot of really unique avenues of, goat, sheep, pigs. We've done a few yaks, oddly enough. On Monday, we did some bison that came out of Yellowstone National Park there and go to some local tribes here in Montana. So it's really helped us branch out into areas that I don't think most people would have ever thought that we were going to be able to do. But it's been a great way for us to show that this model can be used for a lot of different things.
Oh, your impact is just tremendous. I mean, you've hit so many different triggers of places that need help in your state. So, are you just getting beef donations, or are you also getting, or I shouldn't say beef, but livestock donations? Are you also being funded with some cash? If people say, I want to help, but I'm not raising livestock, I can write a check, those types of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it turns out we're pretty darn good at raising money, maybe even better than I am raising cows, I guess. Um, y- we we've received one grant from the state to help with a little bit of equipment. Um, and as of today, I can tell you, we have received no federal dollars whatsoever. We've applied for a lot of different grants and stuff, but being so uniquely different than everybody else. I think a lot of times people, they're not really sure what to make of us, and whether the longevity is there, or the ability for us to be able to stick around. And I guess now that we're 6 years into the whole program, I would say that we've proven that it can work, and that it's going to work.
And Matt, where do you see you guys? Where do you see your operation in, let's say, 5 to 10 years from now? Are you going to keep it in state, or do you want to branch outside of Montana?
So we're currently working with some groups out of Idaho, North Dakota, and Wyoming, trying to get some animals donated for those areas. Oddly enough, we've kind of trademarked everything, and I do firmly believe that someday we will open another one of these facilities in another state, if not more states. Um, we've really kind of focused on just this one for now, trying to make sure that we know what we're doing, how we're doing it, what can be done, and sort of identify ways that we can grow effectively. And we always view it as we're sort of building the plane as we're flying it. And I can tell you, we don't have any landing gear on this thing yet, so we're just going to keep going.
I think that's a great analogy. And also, you recently received quite a donation from the Montana governor.
Yes. Yeah, it was nice to have him come out. He donated part of his salary to the program, which was good. And I think, we've only had about 3 elected officials come out and actually take a tour of our facility. So it was good to have him here so that he could see, what it is that we do, and kind of what we're able to provide. And I think also for the future of what we can do, the ability that, expansion and growth is probably where our biggest strength lies, because the facility itself is paid for. Really all we need are more staff, and I think that we can do a lot more.
When you first went to talk to your Montana Food Bank Association or organization, were they skeptical? I would hope they welcomed you with open arms at such an opportunity, because we know that fresh beef and all fresh meats are one of the top requested items at food banks.
Well, it's funny. I can openly admit I will be the luckiest person your listeners have ever got to listen to, and I know this. Um, but when we called the Montana Food Bank Network, I big shout out to Brent Wisegram. He is their logistics guy. He kind of does a lot of things for them, but Brent was all in from day one, and he's really helped us create a distribution and a way to do it that is unique, and it gets all across Montana. And it has been a really good partnership to work with those guys, because they're easy to work with. They're able to help provide boxes and stuff so we can put our product in it, and they've really helped get everything out. I To date, I have never actually handed out a pound of hamburger. All we do is, the initial part, we make sure we get it to people that are already doing the good work. There's no sense reinventing a wheel at this point.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, no need to reinvent. If there are those listening, and I happen to know a couple listeners are, because they've been sending messages to me asking questions. If they're listening,
Okay.
um, and they're curious, what are some of those hurdles you didn't anticipate? And if you were coaching someone to begin this type of a process, what would you suggest they do differently?
Oh man, be tenacious. I mean, these things, I can tell you there were plenty of people at the beginning that told us it would never work and that we were crazy and it would be a COVID only thing, something that we would only do for a short term. Um, and, the people in the ag world, and we see this every day all the time. If you look at fires in Nebraska to, well, really
Yes.
fires anywhere, but, we see all these different issues and we see people jump up and help each other. And we've never had a shortage of people wanting to help out, of donating animals, of, you know, trying to make all of those connections work. And I think you talk to a lot of the foundations and stuff, and that's always one of the questions we get. Well, how can you guarantee that there are going to be animals that are coming in? Well, when you grow up this way and in this lifestyle here, you know that people are going to help. And especially
Hmm.
when we can start making that connection of, hey, you want to help your kids' school have a better lunch program where they want to actually stay at school and eat school lunch versus driving off campus, getting junk food and that kind of a thing. Man, people are so into it, and they're so trying to figure out different ways to be able to make those connections work and make sure that we get a better product. So it's being tenacious. I mean, it really is. Taking no for is not really an option.
And should never be in this type of situation either. You got to keep it going. So, last question for you, Matt. Have you noticed any changes? Beef prices, of course, have gone up. If you were going to sell versus donate, there's certainly a gap in that, although this is a tax write-off for producers who donate animals. Have you noticed that making an impact on your supply at all, or are folks just still saying, nope, I believe in this and I'm right behind it?
Yeah, so we're still seeing a very good rate of people donating because one thing I guess really to make sure is we're not running around out there looking for that prize steer and the big fat animals.
Yeah,
We do make a pretty good living off of lump jaws or stifled cows or ones that we don't make much at market. And we also see a lot of people that have their prize bull or their prize cow or that almost a pet, and they want to know where they end up and make sure
yeah.
that end of life has a better meaning. And so we see a lot of that as well. And so no, we have not seen the drop off that I would have expected with the increase. Um, just because I think people still want to help. I don't think that will ever change.
Matt, I really appreciate you taking the time to visit with us because this is a fantastic story. I hope it happens in more states as you predict, and would love to be a part of making sure it does. So thanks for your time today, Matt. Happy afternoon to the Rodeo Club.
And thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you again, Matt. And when we come back, we're going to have our Wednesday weather trivia for your chance to win one of Darter Plastic Bait Up Cup. That and Bridgette will have some more ag topics to hit on as well. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:51 in the afternoon. It's time for our Wednesday weather trivia. And this is your chance to win one of our bait-up cups from Darter Plastics. And today's question is 40% of, now this is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so that's why we're concentrating on severe weather. But 40% of tornado deaths occur where? 40% of tornado deaths occur where? I'm not looking for a state. Okay, that's hint number one. 40% of all tornado deaths occur where? Addison, any clue? He's thinking.
The air.
Oh boy. Thanks. Thanks.
You asked.
701-293-9000.
Hey, Addison, I thought you should go with the outside. That's my
There
favorite when
you
you say that one.
Yeah. 40% of all tornado deaths occur where? 701-293-9000. Caller, what's your name? What's your guess?
Tom, at night.
At night. That's not what we're looking at. I like the answer, though, Tom. I like the answer.
Okay.
Yeah. 40% of all tornado deaths occur where? Caller, what's your name? What's your guess?
Jim.
Jim.
In your car?
What's that?
In your car?
No, Jim. I like that answer, though. 40% of all tornado deaths occur in your car. He's on the right track. There's clue number 2. 40% of all tornado deaths occur where? 701-293-9000. This isn't something you can Google. I checked beforehand because I figured this might be an easy one to Google, but 40% again, and this is Severe Weather Awareness Week, so I know there were some tornado sirens going off today. Trust me, there's no severe weather. There's some communities just testing their sirens today. All right, caller, what's your name? What's your guess?
My name is Deborah, and my guests are mobile home parks.
You got it, Deborah. Congratulations. How did you Google that or?
Nope, I'm driving, and of course I shouldn't be calling you, but no, they always say that the tornadoes always go first for, mobile home parks for appetizers.
Yeah, well, it seems like, unfortunately, those are the most vulnerable places are in mobile home parks. That's why we tell you, if you're on the road, but pull over. Underpass is not a good place to be. If you're driving and a tornado hits, you do not want to be on under an underpass. And mobile home parks, yeah, you want to get out of those. Usually they have shelters there. So, Deborah, we're going to put you on hold, and then Addison will get all your information, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Great, congrats. All right, yeah. So
Deborah shouldn't feel bad about calling in while she was driving.
No,
It's
not
okay.
at all.
We're not her priest or her mother. I'm sure she was hands-free and not in the state of Minnesota. It'll be fine. And she's right. I did hear, Tom say the at night. Well, that's when you're going to bed at night and there's a real chance of storms. It's a teeth and bra situation. Put your teeth in, put your bra on, because when the news cameras show up in the morning, you don't want to be missing those things, people. Just a heads up.
it's
That's
good
my
advice.
friend from Kansas who lives in Tornado Alley. That's how she names them. It's a teeth and bra situation.
All right, that's a good piece of advice. And
Absolutely.
yeah, luckily we don't have any severe weather in the forecast for this week, rest of this week. It is a quiet week, although kind of chilly. Our normal highs this time of the year should be right around 60. Instead, we're going to be right around 50 for today and tomorrow. And then we'll be in the mid to upper 50s, sunshine and light winds on Friday. Friday's going to be a pretty decent day. Now, we'll warm up a little bit over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. We'll see a few scattered clouds. We'll call it partly cloudy for for both Saturday and Sunday with low to mid 60s. That's not too bad. And then we'll stay in the 60s Monday, it looks like, and then we cool back down. More Canadian air comes down into the area as we head into next week with temperatures falling back into the 50s. So we'll see a brief punch of 60s and then back into the 50s. Again, I don't see any we're going to remain in this kind of northwesterly flow for the next couple of weeks. So that'll put us in to just after Mother's Day. And then after that, I think we'll start to see that ridge, which has been out west, push eastward. And as that ridge pushes eastward, that will in turn warm us up as well. So that's good news there. We can finally get to some more spring-like weather after Mother's Day. But before that, Yeah, we're kind of in a chilly, unseasonably chilly weather pattern around the area. But hang in there. Like we said earlier, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, for those of you already thinking ahead to fall, because you're big hunters and want to plan for it, North Dakota Game and Fish wants to remind you as landowners, so that can be landowners who are farmers, etc. You can be posting private land electronically for the 26 to 27 hunting season through the Game and Fish website. This year, you have the option to post your land from August 1st to July 31st. That's the entire season. Or August 1st to November 22nd. That's just through deer gun season. Or only during gun season, November 6th to 22nd. Now, if we have a late harvest and you want to make sure that you don't have hunters on some of that property, you could post. If you have cattle that stay out until November and you want to make sure that you don't have anybody shooting around your livestock, you could post as well. Plenty of reasons why you might want to, but again, this is one way to do it is electronically. The deadline is by July 1st, which allows the agency enough time to print materials and then also take care of the digital content. You don't have to just post electronically. You can still do that the old-fashioned way with paper posters, however you so choose to do it. If you did post electronically last year, you can renew, add, or modify your posting designations as well. So if you're thinking about that later in the season, you can certainly check it out, and that is at the Game and Fish website to help you do your electronic posting. And as we think about all the summer camps that are coming up, Northern Crops Institute has their Summer Academy. And this academy is for 5 days for high school students to find what they would like to do in the future. It has 4 different tracks. It's food science, animal science, international trade, or ag technology. If perhaps you're working in the food science track, you're going to work in laboratories to develop new food products and learn how those items reach grocery stores. Animal science is going to look at livestock nutrition and feed systems. It is free for students to attend. That includes meals, housing, and there are students coming from all across the country already to join for the Northern Crops Institute Summer Academy.
All right. Well, that'll do it for today's edition of Weather and Ag in Focus. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere. Jay Thomas Show's coming up next.